So 2021 saw a lot of interesting releases. I know that a lot of people focus on the big names, big releases from Rolex, be it the 36mm Explorer or things from Audemars Piguet, or even like the niche players that launched some very interesting watches like Moser and Chapek. So there were some excellent releases from micro brands as well in 2021, be it the Ming that I recently reviewed, or there was a dive watch from a brand called Seals, it's called the Sea Storm. That was an excellent watch as well, and I'll be doing a review of that shortly. But my favorite release from 2021 is a very unexpected watch. Here it is. This is the Bulova Oceanographer Devil Diver, cause the depth rating for this watch is 666 feet, and this was my favorite launch from 2021, and I have really enjoyed owning this watch and wearing it, and let's do a quick review on it and take a look at why. So to begin with, this is a vintage inspired watch from Bulova's archive, and they've sort of done a true recreation but modernized the watch a little bit. It's a 41mm case, 46mm or so lug to lug, and a 19mm lug width. The thickness is right around 15 millimeters or so, but again part of it's due to the sort of bubble crystal on the top. Why did this stand out more than all the other watches? Well, simply put, it's an excellent mix of vintage and modern, and to me this shade or the orange dial on this is second to none. There is make you smile quality to the orange. As soon as you see it in broad daylight or in person, you're gonna react to the orangeness of this dial. It is so incredibly dense and saturated, it's unbelievable. And it's like if you take the slider in like any of your image editing tools and you push the saturation bar all the way to the end. That's kind of what Bulova has done with the dial color on this, and it's a thickly applied, dense, concentrated, bright orange. There is no subtlety here, and honestly, when held next to my Breitling Super Ocean, the Breitling Super Ocean felt very undersaturated. That's how orange this dial is. It's quite remarkable. You have to pay attention to another detail which really makes the watch go to the next level, and to me that is the way that the markers are done. They are these sort of cylindrical towers almost, that are placed in polished square holders. That is an incredibly cool effect. A square marker that is round. That's what I would say. For me, my first reaction when I saw this was wow, and that wow factor has not left me since then. And even in regular daylight and regular wearing conditions, you are going to notice these sort of three-dimensional cylindrical markers with loom dots sitting in these square polished holders. And even the handset is comically small, but it kind of looks cool. There's a certain charm to it, and there's a certain personality to it that makes it unique. Yes, everybody likes these minute markers on the outer edge that the minute hand goes and touches, and everybody does that. How about you put the minute run on the inside and make the hand smaller? Something different, something really well thought out, and it's still very legible and it's still quite easy to read. has a slightly more old school feel. The bezel action is actually not bad. It feels solid. There's hardly any play. I mean, it would be nice to have a slightly more notchy, clicky feel to it, no doubt, but hey, it's not that expensive a watch. And look at the case finish. The case finish actually surprisingly good. It's polished all the way around, but it's a good level of polish. It doesn't have a cheap look to it. It feels well designed and well polished. The bezel actually has a brushed section below the coin edge. What Boulevard did here, which is interesting and sort of, I would say, maybe controversial to a certain degree as well, is they kind of launched two versions of this watch. One was the limited edition that was priced at like 1500 or so, and then there is the regular production edition, which is what I'm holding in my hand, which retails at around $750. Now, there are very, very minor differences, but fundamentally the case, the structure, the design, the aesthetic, and the markers, and the overall construction build quality is identical. They're exactly the same. And they simply put ETA movement in the higher price limited edition and changed the handset, and they put a fairly basic Miyota 821D is it movement on this. And honestly, I've never heard of that movement until I got this watch, and it's a low beat rate, kind of lower grade Miyota movement. I mean, honestly, I don't mind a Miyota movement in my watch. I have quite a few micro brands with the 8215 or the 9015, and I quite like the 9015 movement. To be honest, I feel it's every bit as good as the ETA. If I were Citizen, and they are owned by Citizen, which basically owns Miyota, you would think that they would have had the foresight to put the 9015 movement in this and really make it compete at that price point, yet they completely handicapped the watch by putting a fairly basic movement in there. Yeah, that's my rant on the movement, but leaving the movement aside for a bit, and this is something that I find a lot of obsession within the watch industry, is people kind of reject watches based on movements. Honestly, yes, unless you're paying a fortune or a great deal of money for extravagant movement, the movement differences become a big deal at that point. At the base level, yes, it is nice to have a smoother, nicer feeling movement, but Miyota movements are inherently reliable and just as reliable as most, and this will work just fine. It is not going to really impact you on a day-to-day basis, and the accuracy on this has been fairly alright as well. So I would urge folks to kind of look past some of these deficiencies and look at the watch for what it is in other ways, and what a watch it is otherwise, right? It's an incredible looking watch. It wears so well on the wrist. It's supremely comfortable, and it's almost, it looks like nothing else. While the lug width is 19, I have managed to fit a 20mm Hirsch on it, and one of the drawbacks to this watch, I would say, was the stock rubber strap isn't all that good. It is kind of thick and it protrudes off the sides, and it's not very wearable in my opinion. So pick up a nice good quality rubber strap like this, or throw it on a nice NATO. You have a very, very cool, unique watch, and just look past the movement. Just enjoy the watch for what it is, and have fun. It's a very, very decently finished watch for the price, and they have been on sale on and off, and I think the going rate for this is right around $500. And honestly, if you look past the movement, I think it's absolutely worth the price for the aesthetic and the unique design and what you get for it, and that kind of what makes it my favorite watch from 2021. There is a certain charm to having something totally different, very cheerful, very colorful, and it's vintage watch done right in my opinion. And so That's my quick overview on the Bulova Oceanographer Devil Diver, and my favorite release from 2021. Hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying my videos. Thanks again. Cheers.